Tapos wala ding mag-play ng ano. Tapos wala ding mag-play ng ano. Lupong hinirang.
Dalaga namin. Nakikinis.
Ayan, naka-read na.
Nakarig.
Record.
Ako muna ang present ko na ako po muna. Pagkasama ka. Nakaread na po ba? Sa akin kasi hindi pa.
Nagre-record na Madam Joanna. Play mo na yung ano.
Naka-read na po.
Wait naman, ayaw naman niya sa present na. Ayaw niya ako mag-present.
Hindi na siguro na naglayo na tayo.
Ah? Sige po, ano? Niya talaga
Okay lang Madam Joanna. Play mo na yung ano.
Ayaw niya.
So, proceed na tayo.
Walang bayang mag-ili.
Opo. Ayaw niya kasi. Naka-present now pero hindi siya mapindot. Naka-present po ba ako? Na talaga kayat.
Ni Lois nga nga ta.
Ayaw niyang mag-present sa akin. Ayaw talaga, sorry. Wala. Wala naman. Tingnan si Lois. Hindi ko alam. Merong present po pero mapindot.
Hindi na.
Ayaw.
Parang wala. Hindi ako naririnig din yata. Baka mahinang signal.
Naririnig ka. Ako, hindi talaga ako makapag-present.
Baka pwede start sa kahit wala nang ganun.
Naririnig niyo ba ako?
OM.
Ayun, pala.
Narinig daw?
Oo, naririnig naman daw. Madina Joanna, Madina Kayat.
Ayaw talaga, ma'am.
Ayaw daw magdilim. Adi ko ang mga guys.
Ayaw mag-present.
Ayaw daw mag-present.
Wala naman sila.
Si Madam Lois daw.
Hindi ko po siya naririnig. Teaching, Lord. Lord, teaching. Voice. Oh, dito siya. Ayaw talaga mo. Ano po ang dyan, lupang prayer po.
YouTube.
Ayan, nag-join na. Nag-join ka ulit.
Wala eh.
Awan talaga.
Corrected ka. Wala daw sabi niya dito, anak.
Wala daw talaga.
Hindi pa okay na.
Talaga, ma'am, pero hindi ako makapresent kasi kahit anong pindot ko, hindi siya
O
nagbubukas.
sige.
Yun naman din, baka pwede na tayo start kahit wala po dun sa wala talaga, ma'am.
Okay na? Start na?
Opo.
Start na daw natin. Sige, start na. Kung na, ayaw na talaga.
Okay, good morning po ulit sa lahat. Nasa ano na po tayo, nasa pang ilang session na ba natin ngayon?
Pang five ba?
Ma'am.
Pang-lima, ano po? Pang-limang araw na po natin for our lock session. And nasa ano na po tayo ngayon? Lesson 3. Ayan na, nag-present na.
Meron ba?
Meron Munjo, may ano. Ayan, kayong dalaw ni Kenneth.
Sa ano na po ako ng
YouTube na.
cellphone.
Okay, ang lesson po natin ngayon, lesson 3 on guiding and monitoring learners in the different LDMs to be presented and discussed by Madam Emily Pitabangan, one of our grade 4 advisor. Good morning po.
Mag-present wala ako ng panghinirang, ma'am.
Ay,
Ayan.
nauna yung presentation.
Naka-charge sa Mars. Yan na lang. Yan na, sa akin na lang.
Hindi na, ma'am. Emily. Sige na, paano ko babalik eh. Hindi ko na alam po. Saglit lang po. Start presenting po. Okay. Okay na, Ma'am M.
Okay na.
Introduce mo na Madam Jenny.
Okay na.
Present ulit.
Hindi,
Dali lang, i-open muna namin yung PowerPoint bago mo introduce para Jenny.
okay na. Okay na, Ma'am. I-open po muna ninyo yung PowerPoint niya, Ma'am.
Okay na.
Oo, i-open ko muna. Dito sa laptop niya. Oo, i-open ko muna.
Nakakapag-present po kayo. Try niyo po mag-present.
Meron na po ba?
Wala po. Wala pong na-i-present, Ma'am.
Nakalagay dito sa laptop niya. Okay naman na. Stop sharing yung nakalagay. Okay. Walang nakalagay na loading. Something gano'n.
Wala.
Wala po. Present mo ulit, Ma'am. Walang nakalagay na Emily Sabangan is presenting.
Walang nakalagay na loading. Wala. Stop o mo na ulit. Oh, sige. Wait lang ulit.
Gapon eh. Mahina ang ano natin ngayon, Madam, ang internet natin ngayon. Feeling ko lahat tayo
Dito na lang, ma'am.
nakakonect ngayon.
Yun na lang sa akin.
Huwag na lang kay Ma'am Evelyn ang gamitin.
Opo.
Subukan ko nga dyan. Yung ganyan, tig-isa lang ito.
Ayan na.
Yun. Yan talaga, ayaw talaga ng love.
Okay na.
Introduce mo na Madam Jen.
Okay, take 2. Good morning po sa lahat. Nasa ano na po tayo, pang-limang block session na po natin. Day 5 po natin. Nasa module 3A na po tayo, lesson 3. Guiding and monitoring learners in the different LDMs to be presented and discussed by Ma'am Emily Pisabangan, grade 4 Rizal Advisor.
Okay, good morning po sa inyong lahat. So, nung nakaraang araw, na-discuss na po natin ang Module 3A, Lesson 1. So, nung nakaraang araw, Understanding the Different LDMs from Ma'am Annalyn Olande. Lesson 2, Designing Lessons and Assessments in the Different Learning Delivery Modalities. At ngayon naman po, Lesson 3, Guiding and Monitoring Learners in the Different LDMs or Learning Delivery Modalities. Ano nga po ba ang kahalagahan ng guiding and monitoring the learners? So guiding and delivery modalities, guiding and monitoring the learners is important because the activities pursued by teachers to keep track of student learning for purpose of making instructional decisions and providing feedback to students on their progress. Naririnig niyo po ba ako? Parang wala yata.
Yes, ma'am, clear po.
Yes, ma'am.
Nawala din sa akin. Naririnig.
Meron po, meron. Meron, Ma'am Emily.
So my topic today is about guiding and monitoring learners in the different LDMs. Sa aking topic, napapaloob po ang Appendix D of DepEd Memorandum 2020 na kung saan ang memo na ito ay tungkol po sa creating a weekly home learning plan and individual monitoring plan na kung saan ito pong memo na ito ay na-issue noong July 21, 2020. Na kung saan sinasuggest dito ang strategies in implementing distance learning delivery modalities or DLDM for school year 2020-2021. Ano nga po ba ang DLDM? Distance learning delivery modalities. This refers to a learning delivery modality where the learning takes place between the teacher and the learner who are geographically remote from each other during instruction. This modality has 3 types: modular distance learning, online distance learning, and TV radio-based instruction. Dahil wala po tayong face-to-face ngayon, kaya ang sinuggest sa memo na ito is the implementing distance learning delivery modalities for the formal education. Okay, so sa aking lesson din po napapalob ang weekly home learning plan and individual learning monitoring plan. DepEd Order 42 Series 2016, it is the policy guidelines on daily lesson preparation for the K-12 basic education program. This program provides the legal basis of lesson plan preparation for the basic education. It indicates the necessity of lesson planning as a critical part of the teaching and learning process. So in lesson planning, so nandyan po yung mga katanungan, what should be taught, how should it be taught, and how should learning be assessed. So given the new context for learning and the unique procedures, in every modality, weekly home learning plans shall be developed. Narito po yung mga procedures kung bakit gusto i-develop ang weekly home learning plan. So letter A, refer to the most essential learning competencies. Ito po yung MELCs in the different subject areas. Ito po yung mga competencies. Then next is gather the self-learning modules and other learning materials needed for the self-paced learning mode. Sample is the distance learning and blended learning modalities. Using the SLMS or self-learning modules as a reference, accomplish the weekly learning plan by taking into consideration the learning competencies, key concept, essential understanding, and the learning tasks. Formative assessment needed to track learners' progress in relation to the attainment of content standards. Subject area, teachers must collaborate to come up with a set of weekly home learning plan for the entire quarter grading period by integrating all subjects in one learning plan. So mamaya po, ipapakita ko na lang po yung example ng weekly home learning plan. I-discuss ko po muna yung mga iba. So, when preparing the weekly home learning plan, the teacher should be guided with a long-term vision of what they want their learners to master and achieve in terms of content and competencies at the end of this school year. So, another procedure is the teachers are advised to adopt these strategies that respect the unique context and diversity of learners in terms of their readiness, learning interests, and learning profile. Differentiated instruction may be manifested by giving respectful activities, interesting, engaging, challenging, through on-level tasks, and below-level tasks to various group of learners. This allows routes of access at varying levels so that every learner is appropriately challenged and comes away with fundamental skills and understanding. Next is, in plotting the learning task, the teacher should strike balance between academic rigor and socio-economic aspect of learning. The completion of learning tasks are done primarily at home. The learner should be given the opportunity and flexibility to manage their own learning without sacrificing time-bound attainment of learning competencies. Okay, so meron pong parts ang weekly home learning plan. Discuss ko muna yung mga parts, tapos mamaya ipapakita ko na po yung example niya. So, the parts of the weekly home learning plan ay learning area. Okay, so learning area are the subjects prescribed taken by learners in particular grade level or K stage. Learning tasks are formative learning opportunities created for learners to enhance their understanding of the content, which prompt them to engage intensively in the subject matter. Next part is the learning competencies. It refers to the knowledge, understanding, skills, and attitude that the learners need to demonstrate in every lesson or the learning activity. Okay, the next part is the mode of delivery. It refers to the method of submission of learning outputs. Ito na yung mga outputs na ginawa ng bata. For example, the written work, products, and performance prepared by the learners. And meron po tayong, halimbawa, pwede rin isubmit yung output ng bata through online submission, through email, or personal submission by the parent for the teacher in school. Kagaya ng, di ba nung nag-orientation tayo noon, yung pagkuha ng module at pag-retrieve or pag-submit ng module is pwedeng personal submission by the parent to the teacher in school. Meron din tayong ginawang schedule. So ito po yung example ng weekly home learning plan. Okay, so nandyan po yung parts, learning area, learning competency, the learning task, and the mode of delivery. Doon po sa learning area, syempre yan po yung mga subject na ilalagay natin. Example is araling panlipunan. Then learning competency, yan yung objectives niya. Halimbawa, na ipaliliwanag ang konsepto ng Asya tungo sa paghahating geograpiko, Silangang Asya, Timog Silangang Asya, Timog Asya. Okay, yan po yung example ng learning competency. Learning task, okay, kung saan makikita yung mga ipapasagot sa mga bata, halimbawa aralin panlipunan, module 1, lesson 1, quarter 1, week 1. Then mode of delivery, okay, pwede itong personal submission by the parent to the teacher in school. Okay, pwede ring online or mas maganda na yung personal submission. Okay, ito na yung output na gagawin ng mga bata. So doon po sa mode of delivery, doon po natin makikita, halimbawa yung mga nasagutan ng bata at ipapasa sa kanyang teacher na written works po. Okay, so yan po yung sample ng weekly home learning plan. So, ang weekly home learning plan ay tumutulong po sa mga teachers. It aids teachers and parents in keeping track of the day-to-day in school and off-school general learning process as they implement the most suitable and feasible alternative learning modalities based on the context of their school. It creates awareness among learners that they are responsible for what they learn. The weekly home learning plan shall be prepared by teachers, implementing the distance and learning, while the DLP or the DLL, which is prescribed in DepEd Order 42, Series 2016, otherwise known as the Policy Guidelines on Daily Lesson Preparation for the K-12 Basic Education Program. Okay, next topic is the Individual Learning Monitoring Plan. Kung mayroon po tayong weekly home learning plan, meron din po tayong tinatawag na Individual Learning Monitoring Plan. So it is a tool which shall be used by teachers and learning facilitators for learners who lag behind as shown by the result of their formative and summative assessment. By providing intervention strategies for a certain period, the Individual Learning Monitoring Plan serves as the document that will show if the learner has shown either mastery of the learning competencies, significant progress, or insignificant progress. For learners who are given intervention activities, their weekly home learning plan shall be adjusted to suit their comprehension level. They should be provided with tasks that are respectful of their cognitive ability but with the right amount of challenge until such time that they are prepared to handle the norm learning tasks. So ang individual learning monitoring plan, ang target niya is to aim the improvement of the students' learning and achievement, and it build the students' capacity to learn. So para ma-improve daw po yung students' learning and achievement of every learner. So the individual learning monitoring plan shall be utilized to monitor the learner progress based on the given intervention strategy. Okay, anong gamit ng individual learning monitoring plan? Okay, narito po. So it serves as feedback data for learners who are provided with intervention activities. It provides a mechanism of support to learners who are lagging behind as manifested by the result of formative and summative assessment, which may be gathered through their portfolio or collected sample of learning outputs. Okay, so, di ba, so dito sa summative or formative, so pwedeng gumawang mga bata ng portfolio. Ito na rin po ginagawa nilang output, isasubmit sa atin. Okay, next is it make the parents, guardians, aware of the academic progress of their children and encourage them to strengthen their involvement in guiding and supervising the learning of their children at home. Next is it helps decide on the effectiveness of the learning modality adapted for the learner and the possible modification that should be provided to improve the learner's performance. It also guides the teachers in adjusting learning content and tasks based on the characteristic gaya ng cognitive ability, the readiness, interest, and the profile of the learner. Okay, so kung ang weekly home learning plan, may mga parts din. Meron din pong parts ang individual learning monitoring plan. So ito po yung mga parts ng individual learning monitoring plan. Learner's needs. Ano nga po ba ito? Okay, it refers to the gaps between the required knowledge, skills, and attitude described in the learning standard and the current status of the learner as evidenced by the assessment results. These are the areas where the learners need help in a form of intervention to help them meet the required learning competencies. Okay, next part is intervention strategies. Intervention strategies are programs or series of steps to help learners improve at areas by struggle with intervention strategies. May be any of the following form but not limited to. Example is extending time of completion of tasks, adjusting the level of difficulty of the learning contents, providing more guided activities before proceeding to independent activities. Seeking for more supervised time with learning facilitator. Giving example prototype learning outputs or models to serve as reference for his or her own work.
Tandaan mo yan.
Next is monitoring date. It refers to the date when the teacher has evaluated the result of the learner's assessment. After a sufficient time of implementing certain intervention strategies, the learner's assessment may be through portfolios to include the learning outputs such as written work, the products, and the performance evaluated using rubrics. Testimonies of parents or guardians and learning facilitators regarding the learner's progress may also be considered as a matter of holistic assessment. Okay, so the learner status, ito pa yung parts ng individual learning monitoring plan. Okay, learner status, it refers to how well the student learns as a result of the teaching learning process in the learning delivery modality. Mga ma'am, nakikita niyo po ba yung slides ko?
One, ma'am. Opo.
Okay daw, ma'am. So yung parts po is the learner's status. It refers to how the student learns as a result of the teaching learning process in the learning delivery modality. It is determined after assessment of learning and completion of sufficient and appropriate intervention strategies. So doon po sa learner's status, nandyan po yung kanya mga parts din. Okay, significant progress, and the mastery. Okay, insignificant progress, it refers to a status where a learner did not meet the expectation. So, ito po yung marireceive niyang grade, kunyari, 75 and below for the first quarter kapag hindi niya na-meet yung expectation. Did not improve performance in the succeeding quarters. Okay, doon naman po sa significant progress, it refers to a status where a learner has significantly improved the performance after provision of intervention strategies by meeting the learning standards as manifested by increase in his assessment result. Did not make expectation in the previous quarter to fairly satisfactory. So ito yung grade scale of 75 to 79 in the succeeding quarter. The next is mastery. The mastery refers to a status where a learner has reached a level of mastery after the provision of intervention strategies by meeting the learning standards as manifested by an increase in the assessment result from did not meet expectation or fairly satisfactory. So ito yung grade scale of 80 to 84 or very satisfactory. With a grade scale of, pag 85 to 89 naman, ito yung pag na-master na rin niya yung subject in the succeeding quarter. So, individual learning monitoring plan is used only for learners who are not showing progress. Ginagamit lang daw ito kapag yung mga learners natin ay who are not showing progress in meeting the required learning competencies. Teachers with these kinds of learners are advised to prepare the individual monitoring plan and communicate with their parents regularly through home visitation. Kagaya natin, kapag may mahinatay mga estudyante or kulang sa yung mga bata natin, may problema, so nag-home visit din po tayo. Okay, so teachers may also call the parents for a meeting to discuss the intervention strategies and what they can do to strengthen their involvement in their child's learning. So in case of face-to-face meeting is not possible, the teachers may communicate with parents through emails, phone call, social media, or private message po. So nandiyan po, halimbawa kailangan natin silang makausap ng bata. Dahil hindi po pwede ang face-to-face, so nandiyan po yung pwedeng makikipag-communicate tayo through email, pwedeng tumawag, or private message na lang. So ito yung example ng template ng individual learning monitoring plan template. So nandiyan po mga parts na tinalakay ko kanina. The learning area. Sa learning area, halimbawa ilalagay mo is science. Okay, for example, learner's name. Halimbawa, Carl Andre Sabangan. Grade level, for example, grade 6, grade 4, or grade 5 ang ilalagay. Then, nandiyan po yung mga parts ng individual learning plan, learning area. Halimbawa, ang ilalagay mo ay science ang learning area. Doon sa learner's needs, contextualize learning materials, closely guided activities. Doon naman po sa intervention strategies provided, pwede tayong maglagay ng printed self-learning modules or SLM. Printed self-learning modules or interactive materials. Okay, monitoring date. Okay, yan po yung date na kung kailan mo minonitor yung bata o naobserbahan. Then sa learner's status, meron din siyang mga parts, insignificant, significant progress, and the mastery. For example, sa insignificant, none. Sa significant progress, ang topic mo ay, for example, is can tell the two kinds of mixtures. Sa mastery, dahil na-master na niya yung subject, can identify homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. Okay, so yan po yung example ng individual learning monitoring plan template. Hello po. Naririnig niyo po ba ako?
Yes, ma'am.
Mga-
Yes, ma'am. Naririnig pa rin namin
Okay,
kayo.
so ito po yung bali last part na po ng aking topic, yung individual learning monitoring plan template. Sa bagay na sa ano din po natin ng mga ibang babasahin po na sa yung sined ni Ma'am Evelyn, bakibasa na lang po yung mga iba doon. Dahil po dito, yung iba naman po dito na topic is tatalakay ni Ma'am Cindy yung ibang i-discuss po about sa weekly home learning plan. Okay, so ito po yung template po ng individual learning monitoring plan. Okay. Ang bibilin po tapos na. Okay. Thank you for listening.
Okay.
Sana naintindihan nyo yun. Okay, pakibasa na lang po sa iba, yung mga iba pa pong i-discuss. Yung activity po sa lesson 3, bali meron po tayong 3 activity. Okay. 4 na activity po pala. Doon po sa activity 1, madali na lang po yan dahil matching type lang po yan. Okay, at saka may key answer. Then sa activity 2, page 26, about sa week home learning plans din po yan. Okay. Then sa activity 3, may key answer din po yan. Activity 4, yun lang yata ang walang key answer. So pakibasa na lang po ang yung module po natin na nakasave na lang po. Okay, thank you. Maraming salamat sa pakikinig.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you po.
Sabi mo paki-open.
Paki-open na daw po yung ano, webcam. Mag-picture daw po.
Ano ba tayo?
Mag-picture daw.
Emily at Rosie, mamaya practice ako.
Ah? Ano?
Paki-open daw yung mga webcam nyo
Mamaya.
Sige, sige.
para
Oo.
mag-picture daw.
Emma, M.
Okay.
Mag-stop presenting ka na
Kasi rin. Ayan.
Ini-stop share mo na.
Mm.
Hindi nakabukas si ano.